Hello, Marley. Can you
Hey,
hear
how's
me?
it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
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 All right, I think that's everybody. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions or ran into any issues from the assignments for last week? All right, well then let's just kind of jump straight into discussing uh, what everybody's favorite kind of post from everybody was. So let's see. I have a spreadsheet right here. I'm gonna share my screen. And then for this, I think, people try to make sure that you're unmuted so we can have an actual discussion. But I just saved everybody's, posts here. Here's your name. You don't need to worry about that, but there's the title of the piece of content that you shared. And, I put my comments in here, but I'm very curious to know what everybody else thought as well. So let's see, let's start with, let's start with Alex's content. So Alex shared this week about how to start a social media marketing channel from, I don't remember the guy's name now. Let me see if I can find it. From Kevin David. And then he also shared the Venngage and the infographics link. So go ahead and just everybody mention, which was their favorite piece of content and why.
I looked at the infographics one that he shared. I thought that was really good, and I thought the templates on there were really well done. And if we could just take some of those and put our own information in there, then it would be a really good way to diversify the types of images that we're posting. Or even if we did add those to blog posts, I think it would be a really good addition.
Yeah, the Venngage we're definitely going to end up using. I like that also, Alex. So my only concern with it is, and I was checking it out earlier, is just how much time it takes to kind of make this kind of content. So we're going to, I think, stick with Canva for the time being because I'm going to be introducing a new tool to you guys very soon called Animoto. This is the main tool I use actually to make videos. And Alex, I was thinking because you have a background in video making that you and me could do a one-on-one training on this and then kind of figure out how to incorporate this into the next stage of creating visual content. So that's going to continue being our main piece of homework going forward is just keep getting better at making visual content because I think once we've kind of exhausted that, then we'll kind of move on to other things. Um, there's just so many things we can do in social media that I think kind of creating creating high quality visual content is really the only thing I can think of that's like we all need to be able to do. From there, I think we're gonna kind of keep doing research and picking and choosing our favorite ideas. And, so people, what they're going to learn in the next stage might be rather unique person to person. So like I was saying with Alex, you and me, we're going to try playing around with Animoto some, making short videos. I have a library of content that have been made from our video marketers that just really need to be cut down and edited. But so yeah, we'll go from there. I'm definitely interested in doing the infographics, and I think we'll be doing that probably maybe a month from now or so, just because making high quality infographics, I can just imagine taking a lot of time. And actually, let's make this a little bit easier, because if I ask for everyone's opinion for each person, this could take forever. So how about everybody just mention which we'll go through down the list, and everybody mention what they thought was their favorite article from all the team members for the week. I think that'll be a better way to go. So yeah, Marley, you can go first.
Okay. I think Anna, was it you that posted the one about Harry Potter world? Yeah. I thought that one was super interesting. It was basically, if for anyone that didn't read it, it basically just said when Universal was opening Harry Potter World, instead of having like this huge marketing campaign, they just held a meeting with, I think it was 7 Harry Potter fans, and then just kind of let those fans take it and spread the word. And millions of people obviously ended up finding out about it through that. So they saved so much money on advertising while also keeping their fan base happy by making sure they were the first to know. And yeah, I just found that article super interesting. I thought it was a really good find.
Yeah. Anna, do you have anything to say? You can totally, I think respond to it and give us a little bit more insight why you picked it, because there's only so much that you can tell us through a Facebook comment. So if there's anything that you can, anything else you can add to it, now is like the perfect time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things is in reading it, I think case studies are really helpful in kind of understanding how the tips or what they're talking about is put into real life. And so it's also something like I like Harry Potter, so it's also something that is interesting and relevant um, to people that like that stuff versus just kind of words and kind of an abstract way of using something. So that's part of why I picked it. But I also think that there were some good tips in there as well, and some information that I thought was helpful. So
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because case studies really are important. I remember, stop me if I've talked to you guys about this before, because I never know what I've talked to which team about. But your website really should be thought of as a portfolio. And is your portfolio up to date? Does it have your best projects in it? This is something so many businesses really kind of drop the ball on, and I'm included. My website is not completely up to date. The case studies are nowhere near as flushed out as they should be. So that, I think, is definitely something we're gonna be working on going forward. It's what my blogging team is trying to do right now. It's kind of hard because it's just I have to get all the ideas out of my brain and relayed to the blogging team, and same with you guys. So maybe what I will do next week is kind of pick one or two of my recent clients and really describe how how one of my older clients and how the results have worked, and one of the newer clients, and that's kind of unique. So you probably heard me talking about the financial planner. The financial planner one might be a good one to talk about because they had an existing SEO company. So those are two types of clients. One of them, which I just basically get and start start doing SEO from scratch. And then another one that had a bad experience with SEO, and I'm kind of picking up where the old one left off and trying to re-energize their perspective on why SEO is still valuable. All right, Alex, let's pick what was your favorite article?
My favorite one was Rachel's Jamie Turner article, like on the YouTube channel. Because I went through it and I saw like he has good content, but a lot of his content, like his older content, I filtered by his most popular and his newest, and like a lot of his older ones, like the thumbnails were just horrible. Like they look like 90s PowerPoint type like screenshots of PowerPoints and stuff. And I noticed like I don't know, just like a year ago, there was like a change in his thumbnails and everything. Yeah, if you go on his channel, like you'll see a big change where he actually starts focusing on thumbnails, and then um, he definitely gets more views from that. His older videos do have more views, even though they have bad thumbnails, but I think it's just because of how old they are.
Yeah.
I just found how it was pretty interesting, like the change in the thumbnails.
Rachel, do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he knew all of this even up to like 12 years ago. I think it's like, you know your shit pretty much if you can have something withhold for 10 plus years. But yeah, I agree about the thumbnail thing.
Yeah, something I've noticed from a lot of these, social media marketers is that when I go and check out their website, that they have very little traffic. Some of them. I'm not sure if Jamie Turner was one of them. I think Jamie Turner, my problem was that because he didn't specify a certain video, that as soon as I got to his YouTube channel, I didn't know where to start. I didn't have the time to watch like 20 different videos. Which were your favorite videos of his channel?
One actually wasn't, it was like a guest one. It was like SEO. He had like a guest speaker for it. I just thought it was relevant, even though he wasn't talking. But kind of back to the website thing, actually, I was originally just looking at his website, and that's how I found the YouTube channel. His website is trash, in my opinion. It's a lot to handle, and I feel like it doesn't have kind of one main focus or is easy to navigate.
Yeah, so this actually kind of touches to another article that you guys shared with me. So when you find someone that you like, if you can share an example piece of content from them so that we're kind of all on the same page, that would be great. Because when you just share someone's YouTube channel, right, we can all split off into different directions. And then when we're having discussions in our weekly meetings about this kind of stuff, it can be kind of difficult. And also the main idea that we're trying to get from all this is finding example campaigns that we can reuse and repurpose for our own, social media marketing. So trying to dial in on what specific elements of the marketing that kind of caught your attention is what I'm kind of looking for. So let's see. If you can find the interview, that would be great, because I would like to watch that. But one of the points I was trying to get to was this other article that Alex shared recently, which was from, where is it?
Jordan Platten.
Yeah, Jordan Platten. Yeah. The video was actually really good, and I was going to spend a decent amount of time talking about it in this meeting. I might come back to it at the end of the meeting because I want to kind of get through everybody's ideas on the team's sharing posts. But something I noticed almost immediately was when I commented on this, let me see what I commented on it. But at first I thought he was talking about how you want to find a niche and how you want to get as specific as possible, because that's a thing in SEO. If you're not specific, then you're going to be competing unnecessarily. If I'm an electrician, you're competing with every other electrician out there, whether or not you're residential electrician, commercial electrician, or industrial electrician. And then even if you are, a residential electrician, what do? What do you specialize in? Panel upgrades, recessed lighting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The more specific you can get in SEO, the better, because the faster you can get results. Now with social media, it's the complete opposite. I think the more broad you are, the more opportunities for engagement you have. And at the end of the day, it's all about engagement. So the wider you cast your net in social media, the better you have a chance of getting results. So I think I found that interesting, and how distinctly different SEO and social media can be. And also, when I went and checked out his website, terrible SEO. And I've noticed this about a lot of these social media marketers. When I go and check out their website, this guy has 112 subscribers, 112K subscribers on his YouTube channel. That's actually really hard to get. We're sitting at around 3,000 subscribers or something. And with 100 so I was very interested at first, what that translated to into dollars, because I thought that would, he should have better success on his website than he does, considering how powerful his YouTube presence is. So I Googled what is it? YouTube calculator. How much does a YouTuber make? And I was surprised to find out he doesn't make that much. Let me see if I can find it. I have too many tabs open. Okay, here it is. So is that his channel? Let's see. His channel is UCS, copy link address. Yeah, so this was him. He makes about $16,000 a year from his YouTube channel, which, isn't that much. And with a lot of subscribers, it takes a lot of work to get 112K subscribers. So this is kind of one of my main points about social media, and I think it's important to remember this, is that social media can be a huge time suck. It is very competitive. All your results tie into your engagement level. And your engagement level, there's no magic bullet for that. What excites human beings and gets them to engage with you is a moving target. And because of all these reasons, social media should be used as a tool to drive traffic to your website, where you can hold on to results, where the rules don't change. Social media has that issue. When you're promoting your Facebook page, you don't own that Facebook page. Facebook owns it. When you're building a YouTube channel, you don't own that YouTube channel. Google owns it. And the rules on these platforms change all the time. And the level of competition changes much more dramatically than on the search engines. The search engines, if you get to number one, it's a lot easier to hold that number one position. If you get to number one on YouTube, good luck holding on to that. Someone more popular is going to come around next month, or the whole population's interests are going to change. It's almost impossible to hold on to a high-level social media, position for a long time, unless you are just better than the competition at your actual, at what you're actually sharing. So I still really liked, his video. He's a very engaging speaker, and I think everything he said was pretty valuable. It's just, this is something you're going to see a lot. Social media marketers love to promote social media as the end-all solution to everything. And you'll find that it's kind of snake oil in that respect. By promoting social media the way that they do, they're inherently increasing their own social media, and they're essentially selling the expertise of knowing how to master a platform. When in reality, mastering that platform, if this guy told you, I'm making $16,000 a year for 112K subscribers, it's taken me 6 years to get 112K subscribers, because, so in this video, in the beginning of this video, 2018, he had 10K subscribers. Now he's, it's 2020, 2 years later, he's got 112K subscribers. So realistically, he's grown faster than that, but it's taken him about 3 years to get about 16K, a year profit from his YouTube channel. Now he's making money elsewhere, and I'm not going to kind of knock on any of this, but I've seen this multiple times with these social media marketers. Another one that's a good example of this was this guy, Alex, the other one that you shared. I was really taken by his whole, marketing strategy at first. What is this guy's name again? Do you remember his name? Alex, I can't hear you. I'm trying to. I think his name is.
It's Kevin David.
Yeah, Kevin David. So Kevin David's the same way. I signed up for his free Facebook marketing webinar, and I recorded it, and I'll probably share it to the Facebook group because one red flag for me is when they spend the first 20 minutes of any given piece of content talking about how great they are. That's a big red flag. And he goes on and on and on about how he's made millions and millions and millions of dollars running Facebook ads. And so I go out and check out his net worth. He's made, theoretically $20 million. If he's making, and he's bragging about how he made $1 million with one Facebook marketing campaign for a client. And just, again, how great and amazing Facebook ads are. Well, 45 minutes into this video, and he's literally taught me nothing beyond what I can Google in 5 minutes: how to add a Facebook pixel to my website and how to create a custom audience. That's literally the basics, the most basic information about creating a Facebook ad. What he's made his money and his living off of is selling, basically hyping up how powerful Facebook ads are. And Facebook ads are great, but you can't make millions of dollars off of Facebook ads that easily. If you could, there'd be a lot of people doing it. So he's another example of, on the face level, his marketing strategy is amazing. And actually, I think what he's doing has given me a lot of ideas on technology that I can be using. I like how he's incorporated Facebook chat into his website. He's got all these different tools and stuff, and it caught my attention at first. It's just when I got to the content, I was like, this guy is selling what you can Google within 10 minutes and learn with it very, very quickly by yourself. So in my opinion, he and also just the amount of talking about himself and self-promoting. If you have to promote yourself that much, then it's kind of a red flag for me. But I guess the point that I was making in all this is that social media is a very, very hard nut to crack. And so I'm going to what we're trying to always do is use social media to drive people to a website, and for all the reasons that I've explained earlier. And we're going to have to kind of repeat that concept, because it's very easy to get distracted, with just, there's so many different things you can do on social media. And if you don't stay focused on the main goal, which is getting people to your website, what you're going to end up doing is creating these massive social media, spend a lot of time building these social media profiles and platforms that you don't own and aren't future friendly and are going to be very hard to maintain. So let's move on. All right, Anna, which was your favorite piece of content?
Yeah, so the one that I looked at, so Rachel posted from somebody named Peter Banerjea or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically the owner of Startup Voyager, and he had some, I guess, quote unquote, unconventional methods that he used to do marketing. And one of the main things that I noticed is he has a comment about being agile, and how basically, the effectiveness of how you do social media is dependent on a number of things like the industry, timing, kind of your audience profile. And so, with the agile approach, you aren't really necessarily looking for a long-term method, but you're looking for more of a shorter chunks of trying to figure out, is this effective? And if so, how can we use that to maybe use in the next month? And so instead of just having this long system or this long strategy, really making sure that everything is adapted and changing all the time, because there are a lot of factors when you are trying to target certain industries and your audience as well. And so I just thought that was a good way to kind of go about it. It's just really reevaluating your strategy, understanding what works, what doesn't, and really adapting to kind of the audience that you're trying to engage.
All right, Rachel, could you give us your thoughts on that piece of content too?
I also thought it was interesting. I feel like there's a fine line between kind of like investing in yourself and the research that you're doing. At the end of the day, like you were saying, kind of like your portfolio is your website, and obviously your business is kind of your portfolio. But I feel like social media and like just the digital space in general has made kind of instant gratification in all aspects of life very predominant. So I think fine line of kind of waiting it out and seeing if something is successful versus people wanting results to appear overnight. So
which piece, I remember reading the agile part. Was it this one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely like the idea, especially with social media, that you've got to be creative and mix it up. People have short attention spans, and very again, if you can't get people to engage with your content, um, you're you know you're never going to get results on social media. And this is one of the issues that a lot of businesses have, where they'll they'll use a program like Buffer, and they'll use a program like Hootsuite, and they'll I've been talking to you guys about how we want to automate our posting as much as possible, and because it frees up our time and energy to focus on other things, and that's great. But when you don't have enough variation in your posts, and people start to see the same post over and over and over again, that's a big problem. And that's why I've wanted us to focus so much on creating images. If we create our own custom images and we get good at kind of mastering the visual element of it, then we're always going to have a lot more variety to our posts than a lot of other people do. And the text side of things, the text side, you can copy and paste any piece of text you want, and then as long as you've got a new image, you're pretty much good to go. On top of that, Instagram, one of the primary ways that the Instagram algorithm works is it likes unique images. It can instantly tell when an image that has already been posted before is reshared. So one of the ways you can get Instagram visibility is by posting unique images that it's never seen before. You will instantly get visibility that way. So yeah, but I also, this is something you're going to continue to hear me say with social media. It's very important to have goals and to stay focused on those goals, because as much as you need to be creative and kind of diversify your efforts, because it's very hard to tell for sure what's going to work and where you're going to get that engagement. If you're not focused on goals, there's too many people that spend a lot of time on social media and not getting anything out of it, for all the reasons you've heard me mention before. So one of the articles that I shared was from Hootsuite, how to set and reach social media goals. And I think this is a very, very good piece of content to read because of all those reasons. Yeah, if you're not clear with what your goals are and you don't stay focused on those over time, which is basically building engagement and getting people to your website. That's the two main goals. If you're running Facebook ads, it's getting a retargeting audience, which I think we may get to. We may talk about Facebook ads sooner than I had liked to, because I don't know if you guys have heard me say this before, but I'm not a big fan of pay-per-click, because pay-per-click is how you're basically paying for your results. And if you do pay-per-click too early on in the process, you're paying for results that you should have otherwise gotten organically, So you've seen this before, but when you're growing at the beginning, you grow very quickly because you're surrounded by, you're passing weak competition. And then as you get closer to the top of the list, your competition gets much, much stronger. This is where pay-per-click makes a lot more sense. At the beginning, one blog post could get you from position 100 to position 70, then 2 blog posts gets you from position 70 to 60, right? Then you need 4 blog posts to get from position 60 to 50. And then at that point, you can blog all day and all night, but if you don't, without video, without social media, et cetera, those diminishing returns start to add up pretty quickly. So pay-per-click makes a lot more sense at the top of a search engine than it does at the bottom. That's why you kind of want to focus on organic SEO strategies until you see strong diminishing returns, and then either branch out to other keyword phrases or start to focus on pay-per-click a little bit. But in social media, it's a whole nother story. Facebook has become a pay-to-play environment. So maybe in a month from now, I'm going to start to show you guys Facebook ads, and we'll start to play around with them a little bit, because I could make you very dangerous with them very, very quickly, much, much faster than what's his name. I swear, I watched the entire webinar and he kept saying, in 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook ad that makes $1 million. And he never got to it. I had to actually end the webinar to start this meeting. So yeah, Facebook ads, at the end of the day, it's all about the content. I can show you how to start Facebook ads and how to set up the pieces so that you can get the most bang for your bucks. But then you have to create high quality images, high quality video, and you got to be creative about the content that you make, because convincing a human being to buy something isn't as easy as it sounds. You know, how many commercials have you watched in your life? You can probably count on your hand the number of commercials that actually made you want to buy something. You know, most of them aren't that great, but then once in a while you get this amazing commercial that comes by, and then you're like, wow, that was you know, special. Same thing with Facebook ads. Until you've kind of figured out how, you know, the content piece of it, all the technical knowledge in the world isn't going to really help you. So that goes back to, again, why I was saying we need to really focus on making high quality images. Then we're going to set more focus on making high quality video. Once we've got that in the bank, then there's so much that we can do. All right, so now, Rachel, can you repeat just in like a minute what you liked about that Agile article again? You said case studies, right? And I'll go back and watch what you said. All right, let's go on to, because you were muted, I couldn't hear you. All right, well, now it's your turn again. So what was your favorite piece of content?
Sorry, I should really learn how to unmute better. I liked, sorry, I'm trying to find it. Anna's post about Rand Fishkin. And just, what was the article? The outreach tips, better than anything applying to Google. I just like the human aspect behind it, where it's like genuine interaction that's really personalized. It kind of also touched on like emails and not personalizing emails, or not sending out emails as like a first kind of point of contact. But I thought that's interesting because, like, at least for me nowadays, I get so many personalized emails that that's becoming like the norm now. So we have to even step like above that and make everything genuine, personal, and kind. I really liked just kind of the human approach to all of this like digital robot type-esque.
I agree with you completely. You know, that's what I have a problem with a lot of these online marketers. They're like, I'm gonna teach you this new strategy that's gonna make you $1 million in 2 seconds, and then you can buy Lamborghinis like I do. And they're like, you know, in the YouTube videos, they're like sitting behind like the most rich, ridiculous places in the world. Then you go and Google their net worth, and they're not worth anything, and they've got no SEO on their website. And again, it's just people want to believe that there is some amazing piece of technology that can make them rich overnight, when in reality it's not that simple. So I agree with this completely. It's remembering that there's always a human being on the other side of whatever you're doing online is a very important piece to the puzzle.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think for good and bad too, especially like quick response to a negative situation, not just like, please DM us or inquire us about whatever, but having like a personalized approach to a problem with the company. I mean, it goes both ways.
You know, that's interesting because something that I kind of struggle with in my business is bad reviews. You know, whenever in the past, that's like one of my big red flags now, is if a client has bad reviews, I want to know why. Because all the SEO in the world isn't going to help if the person is slow to respond to a phone call or an email, and or is rude on the phone, and or rude via email. You know,
Right.
SEO is a 3-step process. First, you make Facebook happy, or in the case of social media, you make Google happy, and then in the case of social media, you make Facebook happy, and they send people to your website. And you got to have a beautiful website that is, you know, that has high quality content, is mobile friendly if they're on a phone, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that make a website actually convince a person to pick up the phone and or fill out an email. But then the third step is exactly, you got to convert that lead via email, via the phone. So you know, being passionate about what you do, not being rude, all these things are in some cases the most important part, because nobody really wants to have 1,000 cold leads to their website. You know, by the time you get to lead number 900, you're going to be burnt out. You're not going to have the energy to even handle it like you did lead number 1. That's why high volumes of cold traffic are not ideal for small businesses. The only people that's ideal for is Amazon. What you want is a small volume of highly qualified traffic, and you want those leads to also share the same, you know, ideals as you do. There's always two sides to everything. You can be, uh, you know, focused on having the cheapest service possible, right? And that's not a bad thing. In a lot of cases, you're making it affordable, maybe to a market that couldn't normally afford this kind of stuff. SEO is a good example of this. A lot of SEO companies out there charge a lot of money, and also don't don't live up to the cost of what it is. When I got in, I'll give you a little bit. I'll have to spend more time with you guys at some point, kind of giving you a backstory on how I got into this. But essentially, I used to do tech support, and my first boss promised me when I started my job a $1 raise every single month that I did a good job and that I hit a certain criteria of got good reviews, et cetera, met my quota, whatever. First month, they fought me on the $1 raise. And that instantaneously kind of made me start to try to find an alternative. So eventually, I decided to leave the company, and some of the clients didn't want me to, didn't want to lose me as the tech support person. And I started doing, I was working at a restaurant, but I started doing tech support on the side for these clients. Eventually, a client needed a website done, and I went and made a website for that client and started, making my own website, promoting web design services online. A couple of years later, I got tired of having clients with beautiful websites that weren't getting business and hearing about their struggles. And same with myself. I just had a beautiful website that I had redesigned every 6 months for 3 years. I was ridiculous about that. And I wanted to get traffic, get more business online. So I tried to hire an SEO person. First person quoted me $2,000. Second person quoted me $5,000. And then I started Googling on how to do it myself. And, I don't know where I was going with all this. I got a little off track, but the reason I kind of still do SEO, to a certain degree, is because I like my clients. Especially in the beginning of coronavirus, I really was thinking about going to work for a company. A lot of my clients went under. I work with a lot of web designers, and every single restaurant closed. Every single gym that I had as a client went under. I lost about 50% of my business in like a month or two, and it was very scary. So I was highly considering going to work for a company and not having all this fear in my life, I suppose. But the clients that I do have would then be completely left, high and dry. I would have to go find another online marketer. And pretty much every single client that I get, their story is that their previous online marketer was charging them too much and they're not getting results. There is a lot of snake oil in the online marketing industry. So my point to all this is that what makes me unique in my business is that I actually care about SEO. At the end of the day, I care about my clients, and to a certain degree, it's that human element is what allows me to close leads. Is very often I'll tell people my whole backstory about how I basically created this business from scratch, right? It's not like I bought this business from somebody else. I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing it for 10 years. And just, going back to, I could spend all day and night doing Facebook ads if I wanted to. I could get I have gotten very good results from SEO. And I've gone through that same experience of getting high volume of cold leads. I think I've shown you guys this, this graph before, right? Where I went from getting 2 phone calls a week to 30 phone calls a week. And that's when I learned about algorithm layering. Building these masterful marketing strategies is only one piece of the puzzle. So going back to that Rand article, don't try to scale. This is actually very important. Getting to the first page of Google isn't what it's cracked up to be. Unless you have a team of salespeople and you've got a team of people answering the phone, you're not going to be happy with 1,000 leads a month. What you're going to be happy with is 20 high quality leads a month that you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of time closing. So this is actually, without a doubt, one of my favorite pieces of content. So let's definitely share this one. That's a no-brainer, in my opinion. And we can definitely share that to the Facebook page. Let's go, Kelly. Let's finish this off. Which was your favorite piece of content?
Mine is actually really simple. It's Marley's video based on the 7 types of keywords. I really like it because it's pretty much like straight to the point. And I remember you mentioning that typically a lot of SEO videos are really boring, but I actually found this one just really simple and really easy to understand. So that's why I really like it.
Oh, I'm glad. That's great, because that was my main concern when I watched the video. I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm just afraid that I'm the only one who thinks that. So okay, let's definitely share that one because I thought it was good too. You know, I could talk about keyword research with you guys for hours and hours. It's one of the main things I do. So at some point in the future, we'll spend some more time on Ahrefs. Ahrefs is very powerful. And yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time right now talking about that because I know I will go off on a tangent. And we only have 20 minutes to kind of figure out the next steps. So yeah, let's Marley, go ahead. That's your piece of content. Anna, that's your piece of content. Rachel, looks like you had 2 of them. Jamie Turner, I don't think, you know, is going to be as useful because I'd like to know more about what specific pieces of content out, you know, from his channel you liked, and maybe I'll just have to kind of look into that a little bit more.
I shared it into the chat here and under the.
Okay, I'll watch that video and then get back to you on that. Then let's see, Alex. We're definitely going to discuss Venngage in the future. This is a really good video. It's just super long, and he talks about so many different things. Let me think about that one. That one I'm going to have to think about a little bit more.
Do you have a preference on who shares when?
Let's just keep the same schedule as last week. Make it simple.
So I watched the recording from last week because I wasn't able to make it. So I don't know if you mentioned which day is best for me to post, but what would that look like?
Let me get my notes. So, who was posting on Wednesday? Is that you, Rachel?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then let's do Monday, Anna.
Okay.
Okay. And are you guys scheduling them out, or are you just logging on the day of to post them?
I've been scheduling mine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, try scheduling them. Let me know if you have any problems with that. Okay. So the new piece of homework this week is continue to make you know, images. Marley is going to be training as the supervisor for the team, and she's going to be helping me manage things in between our weekly group meetings. So yeah, make sure to schedule with Marley, and let's get you know, some pictures and some posts done for our content. I would really like for everybody to watch the video that I shared to the Facebook group. The one which was basically our blogging team from last week's meeting. The blogging team is you know, older than the social media team is by quite a bit, and we're, you know, I'm just farther along in the discussion of SEO with them. And last week I think was just a really good week in general regarding videos. So we're Where is it? Problem is, I think it's an hour long, so maybe I need to add timestamps for it. But once I've added timestamps to it, I will send you guys kind of the parts of the video that I want you to watch. And let's create some social media posts from that. So this will be our first time creating social media posts that aren't for a specific page on the website. It's just for SEO in general. So if you have questions about the video, please let me know. But this is where I want you guys to just start thinking more creatively and less focused on copying and pasting and then creating, an image. This is about creating a structured social media post and really thinking about it from step number one. So less copy and paste in this case. Continue doing the co-schedule and practicing on your images, but at least one post this week from the video that I shared to the Facebook group. And I'll narrow down the part of the video that I want you to watch because it's, I think, an hour long. So I don't need you guys spending the entire hour on it. Watch video. Okay, and then the final, so 1/3 of your time doing the normal co-schedule thing, 1/3, and let's make it more like 1/4 of your time doing the co-schedule stuff. 1/4 of your time watching the video and making one post, from it. Send me any questions you have about that. I will send you the part of the video to watch there later on, hopefully by the end of the day. And then I think the next main piece of what we're going to be kind of doing going forward is finding Facebook groups and starting to engage in them. Doing what we've been doing in our private group, but out in the world now, because that's going to be one of the best ways to build engagement. Is building engagement on your own page is something. As soon as we get some engagement, we're going to focus on that a lot. But there's going to be two ways of getting engagement: reaching out to people that you already know in real life, and that's going to be something I think we do next week. Next week, I'm going to bring a list of my clients and a list of my power partners, which are the web designers, the videographers, and the people that I share business with. And we're going to start to engage with those people that I know in real life on social media. So we'll be trying to bring in engagement from that side of things. But another side of things is bringing in engagement from Facebook groups. So go out into the world, spend 1/4 of your time, an hour or two, in Facebook groups, and just start engaging in comments. You don't need, for right now, you don't need to report back to to the team about any of that. But I think in a week or two, that's going to be part of the homework. Once we've kind of gotten past the making videos or making images part, we're going to spend more time on making videos and sharing where we've been spending our time in Facebook groups outside of our private one. Does anybody have any Facebook groups? Was that homework from last week? I don't have that in my notes. Right now, it was just sharing a piece of content back to our Facebook group, right? Okay. So yeah, go out and find some Facebook groups and engage in them. And we're not going to probably talk about it next week because I've got a lot of my on my list to go over next week. But maybe 2 weeks from now, we will start to share with each other which groups that we've been going to and which ones we've been getting, that we've been getting some kind of engagement back on. Because that's what's going to happen is you're going to comment on something. I guess what we'll start on is everybody will basically start sharing something from a Facebook group back to our Facebook page, and then we'll start sharing where we've been commenting on stuff. And this will become a process going forward into the future, because Facebook groups really, at the end of the day, are going to be just a huge piece to building a really good organic social media strategy. And start engaging. And then I had one last thing. So we've got co-schedule, making images, watch the blog training video, make a a post on the Facebook page for that. Find Facebook groups and start engaging. It's quite a bit of homework, but I think I'm forgetting something. Well, let's just make it, schedule with Marley and start to, because she's going to kind of coordinate the images part, and let's just go with there, because I already think that's enough for 1 week. Yeah, so for next week, what I am going to do is I'm going to bring that list of clients, bring a list of power partners, and we're going to start to try to pull in some engagement from there. It's probably going to be too soon to relay what me and Alex have kind of played around with Animoto on. So I think video will probably have to wait for the next week afterwards. But there was something I wanted to do next week, but I'm drawing a blank. Does anybody remember? I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Something that I wanted to talk about next week. Well, when I figure it out, I'll send it to everybody in Skype. All right, so, case studies. I'm gonna start working on my case studies. And I think next week, each week, I'll kind of talk to you guys a little bit of more of my backstory, how I got into this, why I do this still, and work so that we can start to build that human element to the business and to the to the marketing for the business. And the case studies, I think, is going to be a really good place there, because I've had clients now that I've been working with for 5 years. So, I really like my clients, and I think you guys knowing what I've done for them, how SEO has worked for them, is going to kind of help with creating our content going forward. All right, any questions? Because I think I have covered everything I can think of.
I have a question. Did you want me to post anything today for the Facebook
Yes,
page?
you're right. I didn't highlight. Did you?
Okay.
All right, let's see. Okay, I really like this one for you.
All right.
Pretty much everything on that list is good. My only problem with articles like this is that they talk about too many things in one article. This is, in my opinion, one of the kind of the worst ways to make content in SEO, because this really only works for big players. Digital marketer is a huge company. And when you're a big company, you can talk about 7 different things in one page and get away with it, because the overall SEO of your website goes a long way to helping you rank for each individual keyword. Talking about earlier about you want to get as specific as possible. This website has a domain score of 81 out of 100. That's very hard to get. It's the 10,000th most popular website in the world out of millions, if not billions of websites. So that is why it's able to rank. Why it's able to talk about 7 marketing hacks. Marketing hacks is probably the keyword that it ranks for, but it's not going to rank highly. If I go and look at the keywords for this one, I'm just going to do it real quick. So this website gets 52,000 people a month. This article gets 0. So that's kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. When you talk about 7 different things, you're not going to rank for any of the 7 different things very highly. You're going to want to get more specific. Don't shy away from video. I don't really need to talk much about this, because that you've heard many times how much I like video. Look at your data regularly. This is something we're going to start to do more in like a month from now. At the beginning, I want to kind of teach you guys how to do social media without looking at the numbers. Because once we've kind of gotten good at just creating content and sharing it on social media, then we'll start looking at the numbers. What's working, what isn't working. And that'll kind of factor into our strategies going forward. Listen to what consumers are saying. This goes back to our research on Facebook groups, right? It's very important to go out there and, you know what you're talking about and see what your target audience is interested in, you know, so that you're not wasting your time and energy. Get customers involved in your advertising. This is very important. This is, again, if you try to do everything yourself, your life's going to be a nightmare. One of the basic concepts of SEO that I like to show is that a lot of people are stuck in the old way of thinking, in that everybody's a competitor. And if you think that way, you're just making your life very difficult. If you have 20 people in your space, you know, in your industry, you treat every single one of them as a competitor. It's a ratio of 1 to 20. Now, if you team up with just 3 other people in your area, you know, let's say there's 20 SEO professionals out there, and I decide to team up with 4 of them because let's say one of them loves Twitter. I don't really like Twitter. Another one, you know, works on the north side, and I'm on the south side, right? Another one works on the east side. Another one works on the west side. I work on the south side. Teaming up with all the people that work in areas that you don't serve and do things that you don't want to do, it's a good thing. Again, you don't want 1,000 cold leads. You want 10 high quality leads. So the more focused you get and the more you divide and conquer with people that aren't targeting what you want to target, the better. And then on top of that, you can kind of piggyback on each other's SEO. If you just team up with 3 other people in your industry, that's now a ratio of 4 to 16, which is 1 to 4. That's a factor of 5. You'll be doing 5 times as much more work, if not way more, because again, this doesn't factor in being able to piggyback on each other's SEO and help each other. So building a team of people and, you know, getting is again, this is just the nature of social media too. You got to team up with human beings. You got to get engagement. So get customers involved, get anybody you can involved. The more the better. And then have variety in your growth tactics. You've heard me talk, we've talked about this today quite a bit. And then 7, keep up with your competition. That goes back to the analytics. We'll talk a lot more about going forward. So this is a really good article. I just wanted to add that it's usually not a good thing to talk about 7 different things. What they should do is have a dedicated article that says, power of video, dedicated article that's, check out your data regularly. Each one of these bullet points could easily be its own dedicated article and should be. So, but I like the general concepts in this one. Every single one of them I like. So, and you can make a lot of really good social media posts out of this one. So yeah, let's share this one. And this week, actually, let's change that. Let's make 2 posts from each piece of content that you've picked, because every single one of them, there's at least 2 posts that you can make. And I think you guys all did a really good job there. I liked a lot of the content you shared.
Do you want both posted on the same day still?
That's a good question. No, that's not a good idea, is it? So let's just post 2 days apart. So if you posted on, so Kelly, you're posting today, post 2 days from now on Thursday. Rachel, same thing. And if that falls on a weekend, I don't care. Weekends actually are really good days for social media. People are off work. So on Saturdays, you can pretty much post all day. They have a good engagement rate. On Sundays, it's usually after 5 o'clock because people are, wrapping up whatever fun they were doing and getting ready for the work day. Right, does anybody have any other questions?
Just to clarify, did you want us to make both the posts about that one content?
Yeah, but
2 separate posts? Okay.
Yeah, 2 separate posts, and because there's, with every single one of these pieces of content, right, you could make a post about listening what your consumers say, and then a post about having variety and growth tactics. What are your 2 favorite ideas from the article? And make 2 different posts for each of those ideas.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, well, I will go ahead and get the video timestamp for you guys, and I'll send that to you guys in the Skype group. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk again next week, if not sooner.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.